Energy Transition, episode 26. The topic today is energy disorganization. Good afternoon, Irina Slav in Bulgaria. Good morning, David Blackman in Texas.
Hello, good morning and afternoon.
Good morning.
Natural gas crisis in Europe. OPEC Plus offering 100,000 barrels, increasing a world of 100 million barrels a day. Discovering the complexity of minerals for the energy transition. Can it complicate more, Irina Slav?
I just read a news report from Britain where water is scarce, if you can believe that, about the British Isles. So water utilities are now advising their clients to switch from taking showers to washing themselves with wet towels. So yes, it can get even worse. We're going into water scarcity now, apparently.
But not the United States, David. United States, everything is stable, no?
Oh, yes. Yes, things are totally stable in the United States where energy is concerned. Oh my goodness, where to start? You know, we just had the Senate pass this big bill Sunday, which will target hundreds of billions of more dollars to the big wind and big solar industries, moving us down the exact same path that Germany has followed and much of the rest of Europe have followed over the last 20 years that have resulted in this completely man-caused energy crisis that is facing Europe and much of the rest of the world right now. So it's as if our politicians here are incapable of learning from what they can see right in front of their faces, and it's frightening. It really is frightening to see these intentional policy decisions being made that everyone knows are going to move us into a situation of less energy stability and more human deprivation, just as the rest of the world is experiencing. And so we're not immune to this craziness here in the United States.
And can become worse because a Chinese invasion of Taiwan is a potential problem.
Well, it seems to be, thanks largely to our Speaker of the House insistence on visiting Taiwan for reasons that are still unclear to me. And I think about 99% of the American public are kind of at a loss to understand why the Speaker of the House felt the need to go to Taiwan. Not that she shouldn't be able to do that. I mean, the Chinese government should not be able to dictate where public officials from the United States or anywhere else can go. It's just that there seemed to be no real official government mission involved in that trip, other than to create a controversy, which she certainly succeeded in doing.
Yeah, you see a perspective for Russia become, let's say, return to send natural gas to Europe normally, or you don't see this opportunity?
Well, if they return the turbine and they start paying in rubles, they are paying in rubles, German utilities, probably, but not if the sanction regime continues. Russia has very convenient justification for not sending more gas to Germany, and it's this turbine that I don't think anybody currently knows where this turbine is. And importantly, it's probably in Germany. Importantly, though, it's not just Gazprom saying this. Siemens Energy, the German company, said that Nord Stream 1 needs, was it 5 or 6 turbines in order to operate at full capacity. And it only has 1 turbine operating right now. So, and as a German company saying it, you can't put it down to Russian propaganda, So it's tricky, and I mean the Germans appear determined to not increase their supplies from Russia. And that's understandable from their perspective, because clearly they cannot rely on Russia, because you can't slap sanction package after sanction package on a country and expect it to continue supplying you with energy in a business as usual mode.
Right.
So, yeah, the problem is for Germany and for many other countries in Europe that the alternatives are scarce, including LNG from the United States, because Asia is now also preparing for heating season. And prices are going to get higher and higher because all these countries need gas, and they have nowhere else to get it from. I mean, Japan continues importing LNG from Russia because it can't not continue. But Russian LNG is about a tenth of Japan's imports, so Japan needs to find the other 90%. Japan is super reliant on LNG imports. And this competition between Europe and Asia is going to intensify further in the coming months. It's already intensifying, but it's going to get worse. Gas is going to get even more expensive. And I really don't know how governments will cope with these increased costs. I mean, Europe is already paying 10 times as much for gas as it normally does. These costs will have to be passed on to utilities, to consumers, and it seems like it's going to be a really tough winter. Yeah. Even if there is enough energy, even if we don't get to the stage of blackouts, it's going to be tough financially for everyone.
Yeah. And David, it could be easier liberate the Nord Stream 2 to operate, no?
Well, but again, as Irina points out, if you activate Nord Stream 2, if Germany and the EU relent on their sanctions and approve the startup of that line, then you are, again, putting yourself in a subservient position to Russia and making yourself dependent on Russian supply.
And you'll be a laughing stock of the world.
Right. And you'll be the laughing stock of the world even more than Germany already is where energy is concerned. And so it is understandable that they don't want that to increase. But what everyone also needs to understand is that we are going into winter heating season. The European continent does need natural gas, and it's not, more is coming from the United States in the form of LNG, but there are limits to that, and we're already reaching them. It will take a decade to really build out massive new export facilities here in this country. And that can only be done if the Biden administration relents on its holdup of permits, which is showing no signs of doing. So as I've said repeatedly here on this podcast in recent months, the United States is really probably not the most reliable trading partner for Europe in this regard. Yeah. And it's because of government policy, just like every other aspect of this energy crisis that is caused by government policy. And so we all must realize, I think, when we talk about these things, and I wish governments and the news media would be more open and honest about it, there is no shortage of natural gas on the face of the earth. There is no shortage of oil. There is no shortage of coal. There's plenty of all of that. It's government policies restricting the movement and the production of those energy providing fuel sources that is causing this energy crisis. 100% due to government policy. And yes, the war in Ukraine, Russia's crazy war with Ukraine, has made that situation worse. But as we've all noted, this all started last summer. It didn't just start when Russia invaded Ukraine in February. So and again, on Sunday, the Senate here in the United States just continued this irrational energy policy momentum here in the United States. And so it's all going to get worse. And I just, we just have to hope that somehow a major human catastrophe can be averted.
Yeah, Irina, this confusion is making some countries like India, China, Russia becoming together to play a different game. How do you see this new? I heard that India is importing from Russia and reselling oil for other parts of the world.
Well, nobody is stopping India from doing that, so why not do it?
Yeah, yeah,
Which again questions the effectiveness of the sanctions. One of uh, many things that question their effectiveness. Well, yes, the East-West sort of opposition is really sharpening right now, if you will, and especially in the wake of foreign asset freezing. I remember soon after the invasion, Western governments began freezing Russian assets abroad. This was probably the stupidest thing they could have done, because obviously other countries would start thinking, wait a minute, if they can seize state assets, they can seize my assets if I'm not doing what they tell me to do next year. That doesn't make for a good reputation of Europe and the US politically. So I think it's a natural thing that the BRICS is already a sort of a, it's already a group, but all these reports now that other countries may want to join it, and Turkey is strengthening its ties with Russia. There was even a report that Saudi Arabia was considering joining the BRICS. And clearly, OPEC still has made it clear it will play with Russia in this match, so to speak. So I think it's a natural development, if you will. It's not being forced, unless you consider it forced by current events unfolding. How all this is going to end, we'll have to wait and see. But I think Europe and the US are not making a lot of friends right now in Asia, or any other continent, to be honest, especially right now. And they're not stopping. It's amazing. They do not acknowledge their mistakes, and they keep on going in that direction. Help me, David, who was it? A US diplomat just went somewhere in Africa and told African countries to not buy anything from Russia except from grains and fertilizers.
Right. Yeah. From our State Department. Yeah, it's just stupid. I mean, that's just stupid.
Exactly. It's stupid, and it's harmful to the US.
Right. It is. It harms our reputation. And just like the Biden's fist bump with the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it violated 70 years of protocols. And regardless of what the situation is, you have to respect the leaders of other countries when you visit those countries. And yes, the diplomacy aspect of this particular administration. I mean, Democrats love to yell and scream about Trump's efforts in the Middle East is a great example. But my goodness, we had almost historic peace agreements, and not almost historic peace agreements during the previous administration. That all of that progress in the Middle East is being lost because of this. I'm like you. Even in America, we can't really figure out what the base motivation for it all is. But your point about BRICS and its rising strength and influence is very, very well made and well taken, because that group of countries is very powerful economically and diplomatically worldwide, and is becoming really a rival to the G7 on the geopolitical front. And the existence of that group of countries working together really makes this concept by the G7 that they can somehow enforce a price cap globally on Russian oil so utterly absurd. Yes, India is buying Russian oil and reselling it because Russia is a key trading partner for India. And the thought that India and China and Brazil and South Africa are just going to go along with this program being pushed by the US government and the G7 is really absurd at its base. And so it's one more of these inexplicable things that is being pursued by this administration. It just seems to make no sense, and really, I agree, damaging to the U.S. reputation abroad.
And as you said, more countries are trying to become part of BRICS,
Right.
and so it's more than half of the world population.
Yeah, and I mean, it's already half the world's population. If you add Saudi Arabia and Turkey and Iran to that group of countries, my goodness, the geopolitical power in that group of countries is enormous.
And the
Yeah,
United
imagine
States is
Saudi
incentivizing.
Arabia.
Yeah,
Saudi Arabia and Iran being in one group,
Yeah.
in addition to OPEC. That's something. That's big
Yes,
something.
it really would be. Be hard to counter.
Yeah, let's pray to Chinese do not invade Taiwan, Russian become more calm, because problems are increasing very fast.
Yes, things are moving too fast to keep up with, and that's 3 years ago I wouldn't have believed that was even possible, given everything
me
that was
too.
happening then. And but yes, it's like every day things just speed up, and it's really hard to keep up with it all.
So it's not only energy disorganization, it's more than energy.
It's
everything.
a total disorganization.
Total
But I think
disorganization.
energy is a great driver of all this rising instability, right? It's
Right.
Yeah, and it all began with this lack of energy security in Germany in particular.
And you mentioned something very important, David, because the exports of LNG from the United States to Europe can fail, and so it's failed. It's a big problem.
It's just not going to be adequate to solve the problem, and there's no really, winter's coming in 3 months. There's no short-term solution to that.
Yeah.
And so Europe is facing a huge, well, not all of Europe, but the countries who really use a lot of natural gas are facing a pretty severe crisis this winter.
Irina, let's wish David a good vacations for next week, and
yeah, have a
let's
great
wait for
time,
him.
David.
We plan to have a really nice time. It's our anniversary and my birthday, and we're going to Las Vegas. So just hope I don't come back broke.
Fantastic.
Have a great time, and don't read news. Take a
Yeah,
break.
don't
try.
read this.
I'll try. Yeah, that's
for
the hardest
15
part.
days at least. Yeah. Have a good day. Thank you so much for this nice conversation today.
You too.
Thank you. Y'all have a great week.
Have a
Good.
great week,
Bye-bye.
all of you. Bye-bye.
Bye.